Wherever you may be, welcome to our presentation on doing business in Botswana. We are 5 female students from Thomas More: Alanur, Hoy, Rina, Viktoriya, and me, Zühal. We will be talking on our topic that is given by Mr. Paul Nchu in the first academic year, and in class 1A. Global business, Botswana emerged because of the economic opportunities in South Africa. Botswana attracts investors with its strong political base and commitment to sustainable development. This paper examines Botswana's investment landscape and highlights the key factors that make the country an attractive for investments. We provide insight into the country's cultural aspects, business etiquette, and a guide to the specifics of negotiating a business deal. We've touched many matters like political landscape, the tax overview, the law and regulation, and many more. Firstly, we will talk about political landscape. Many sources claim that Botswana is settled to be one of the most stable democracies in Africa. Throughout history, their leading party hasn't known any opposition to take over since their independence. Though, not all factors of a free country are checked, such as media freedom, protection of minorities, the acceptance of the LGBT community, etc. Botswana exists of a presidential system. The electing of a new president happens indirectly by the National Assembly. The National Assembly consists of 65 seats. 57 of those are directly chosen by the voters. The leading party in Botswana is the BDP, the Botswana Democratic Party. They haven't lost their leading role since their independence of Botswana. The freedom to organize a different or competitive party is legally possible. However, there have been reports of harassment and interference from government agencies. In our interview with the Embassy of Botswana, they enlightened us about the transparency of the government, how there is a yearly meeting between business owners, investors, and members of the government, concluding that they are rather transparent and open to change for the better.
Welcome to the geographical landscape of Botswana, a captivating landlocked country nestled in the heart of southern Africa. Let's delve into its diverse geographical features, unique climate patterns, and the environmental challenges it faces. Botswana is the 48th largest country with a semi-arid climate. Natural hazards, windy, they carry sand and dust affecting the visibility. They have some environmental concerns, challenges, overgazing, desertification, and limited fresh water.
The religious landscape. Firstly, I would like to talk about society in Botswana. According to the features and its composition 2000,
Economic landscape. Botswana is fast-growing economy. Its export last year was almost 40% of GDP of Botswana. The main industry of Botswana is mining. Tourism is also a racing industry.
The population of Botswana has been growing in the last 40 years, as the population pyramid shows. The population density of Botswana in 2023 is 4.6 people per square kilometer. This number is relatively small compared to other countries. The education system in Botswana consists of 7 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary education, and 2 years of senior secondary education. As shown in the figure below, participation rates exceed 19% for children from 7 to 16 years old. Botswana is one of the unequal countries recently with ninth highest Gini coefficient. This number is higher than the average of OECD and African countries. Botswana's Gini coefficient is 53.3 in 2015. A cause of inequality in Botswana is growth of service industry. For founding companies, submit the name reservation form, sign declaration, inspect companies around, get an industrial license, open a bank account, and so on. In all, it requires about 2 months.
In Botswana, we have different company types. We have 6 company types. The first one is LLC, Limited Liability Company. It is the most common type of business entity. The second one is PLC, Public Limited Company. Then we also have branch, and then we have representative office, and then offshore, and lastly, turnkey solution.
Now, the cost of doing business in Botswana. Before starting a business in Botswana, like in other countries, there are procedures that have to be taken care of, like the procedure to legally and formally operate a company, the time that it will take to complete one, and of course, the cost of it all. Before starting a business in Botswana, like in most countries, there are procedures that have to be taken care of. From reports, we have concluded that overall the ease of doing business in Botswana has a score of 66.2%, which ranks them at the 87th place. The first thing that I covered was starting a business in Botswana. What we can immediately take away from the report is that for both men and women, it is exactly the same. There are 9 procedures. It would take a total of 48 days, and it would take 0.6% of the income per capita. Compared to other sub-Saharan African countries, they score just below the average. But the procedures are also more expensive. Having a business also requires certain permits and licenses. The time it will take for everything to be taken care of is significantly lower than the regional average. That is also why their rank is a staggering 70% higher than the average. When doing business, we also include doing business across borders. When we compare factors like border and documentary compliance, domestic transport, we understand that Botswana scores almost 30% compared to their regional average. For example, to import in Botswana, it would approximately take an average of 4 hours. When comparing this to other sub-Saharan countries, this can add up to 126 hours or 5 days. This makes it more inviting for business to consider looking for a Botswanian business. This, in combination with the cost, is also 6 times cheaper than in other sub-Saharan countries.
Botswana, situated in southern Africa, offers a stable and growing economy since gaining independence in 1966. Recognized for its peace, strong institutions, and favorable economic policies, it constantly ranks high in global assessments. The country actively attracts foreign direct investment through incentives like tax holidays and custom duty drawbacks. With access to substantial markets and favorable trade agreements, Botswana provides a secure and attractive environment for investors.
As overview, like other countries, Botswana has a stratified taxation system in terms of both residents and non-residents are subject to tax on income earned from a source in Botswana. About the laws and regulation in Botswana, I would like to talk about the monetary policy, legal system, and intellectual property.
Contracts for Botswana, we have fixed term contracts, unspecified contracts with a break of 45 minutes. Overtime is paid 1.5 times the ordinary hour. Child labor is prohibited, but children aged 50 or older may engage in light work.
Sectors to target and invest in Botswana are energy industry, agriculture, mining, telecommunication, and tourism.
Now we will talk about the cross-cultural aspects of the different groups in Botswana. There are 8 ethnic groups in Botswana. Every ethnic group and tribe in Botswana have their own distinct culture. This means that there are similarities, overlaps, and dissimilarities between the individual Botswana tribal cultures. These different components include art and crafts, myths and legends, ceremonies and celebrations, rituals and rites, beliefs and religion, and norms and values. The official language is Setswana, which is spoken by the majority of the population. Cultural influences regards some cultural connections between the ethnic groups, such as traditional dances, music, and clothing. These groups are impacted and inspired by other. However, Setswana culture has a significant impact on the national identity. The political unity. Botswana has a history of political stability, and citizens from different ethnic groups often share a sense of national identity and unity. Some of the differences. Though Setswana is a national language, however, some ethnic groups have their own language. For example, Babirwa's language is Sebuirwa, Hambukush language is Sembukushu, Basubiya's language is Shikwane. Also, the habitats. These ethnic groups live in specific areas. There are some ethnic or tribe groups who are immigrated from other African countries. They choose the place where it's suitable for their culture, ritual, and belief. Hence, that creates 2 cultural differences. The Tswana settled in southern and central parts. The Bakalanga settled near rivers like the Shase and Ramokoemba. Batswapong established settlements in villages in the eastern parts of Palaple and Mahalapi. The culture. Each ethnic group has its own unique cultural practices, ceremonies, and rituals. For example, the Tswana were also accustomed to the African traditional religion, which mainly made up of ancestral worship. Bakalanga has the performance of Mazenge dance by women, uttering exhortations to ancestors to heal a person, performing unintelligible ancestral communication, or performing Nanzula, dancing to celebrate a great harvest. They have meant dress codes to date when performing their traditional music and dance. The economic activities and traditional livelihoods can vary among ethnic groups. For example, the Basarwa traditionally engage in hunting and gathering, while others might have been involved in agriculture and cattle herding. The historical experiences throughout the ethnic groups may differ. They have distinct historical experiences, including migration patterns, interaction with colonial powers, and responses to socio-economic changes.
Knowing business etiquette is crucial to successful business. First, English is used in business situations in Botswana. However, in private life many people use Setswana, so you should know some words like Dumeram and Ke Alibonga means thank you. Greeting is essential in Botswana. If you go to Botswana, you are greeted by unfamiliar people. Wherever you are, first you have to say Dumeram. Next, business clothes should be formal, especially first meeting. You should wear conservative dress. Also, respect for seniors is very important. In the northern region of the country, it is customary to kneel down and present both of your hands when greeting an elderly person who is seated. If they are standing, a slight bow with the offer of both hands is appropriate. Lastly, wording is also be careful. The use of first name in business situation takes longer, so you have to wait until your contact from Botswana begins the practice. When you write email or letters, you must use pronominal title.
Negotiating a business deal in Botswana, it's like in any other country, requires understanding of local business culture, etiquette, and legal considerations that we discussed already. English is a common speak language in Botswana, so you will have no problems to do business there. Negotiating take a formal form of interaction. Nevertheless, informal communication can be considered to know each other better, to establish trust between business sides. Respect is essential for the process of negotiating in Botswana. Botswana people appreciate punctuality. Punctuality is a principal tip to do a successful business deal. However, flexibility and compromise should be present in the negotiation. Business parts should be open to negotiate and compromise. Collaboration is important for foreign businesses. Local business can provide culture and local knowledge essential for successful business. They appreciate the skills and knowledge that you can bring to their country and help them to reach new goals.